Let me start by asking you something that might just change the way you see everything. What did you actually do yesterday? I mean it. Not just how you felt or what you thought about doing. What did you build yesterday? Because that's where your real future hides. Not in some far-off dream or ambitious goal. It's tucked neatly inside your routine. Success isn't a surprise. It doesn't sneak up on you like luck or depend on some special talent you were born with. Success is crafted through simple, consistent disciplines repeated every single day, like laying down one brick at a time. On the flip side, failure? It's just a few poor choices. Small misjudgments repeated over and over, almost without noticing. Your life doesn't suddenly transform when the clock strikes midnight. It transforms the moment you change, your habits, your patterns. So if you've been holding your breath, waiting for that perfect moment to start, stop. That moment is a myth. The real moment of power is the one where you take control. Your routine is your blueprint. Think of your habits as the builders. Your results, that's the house you're living in. And in this video, we're not diving into abstract theories. We're going to break it all down into clear, actionable truths. Steps you can apply today. Because here's the simple truth. Success doesn't come from grand gestures made once in a while. It lives in the small, intentional things you do every single day. If that resonates with you, if you feel like you're finally ready to hear this, then stick with me. Because your future, it's already hiding inside your daily schedule. Let's go find it. Let's start with something that sounds simple but holds massive power. Your day is your life in miniature. That's right. The way you spend today is the way you're shaping your future. And while it may sound obvious, don't mistake simplicity for insignificance. If you want to predict where someone's heading, just look at how they spend a single day. Life doesn't come to us in 10-year chunks. It doesn't even unfold by the year. It arrives one sunrise at a time, one quiet morning, one decision, one routine. Success doesn't walk in with fireworks and fanfare. No, it sneaks in quietly, in your morning habits, your self-talk, your food choices, your conversations, and especially in what you do when no one's watching. And here's the golden insight. Win the day and you'll win the week. Win enough weeks and you win the month. Stack those winning days together and before long you've built something extraordinary. A life you can be proud of. Here's something I learned early on. Don't waste your energy chasing unimportant things, but also don't dismiss the seemingly small things that matter most. What you do first thing in the morning counts. How you spend your quiet moments matters. How you care for your body, your mind, and your relationships. It's all compressed into this one little package called today. You might look at today and think, it's just another Tuesday. But it's not. Today is everything. It's the only chance you have to live a better life, by living a better day. And if you keep doing that, one solid, intentional day after another, they'll stack up like bricks, forming a solid foundation. Before you know it, you've built something that lasts. You've built success. Now let's talk formulas. I believe in them. Simple, repeatable, reliable. A few early wins to set the tone. A disciplined schedule. Time carved out for learning. And reflection. A daily commitment to contribute. And before bed, a moment to pause and review. That's not just a powerful day. That's how powerful people are built. And yes, I hear you. You might be thinking, Jim, I've got a million things on my plate. Of course you do. So does everyone. But here's the real difference. Some people let the day push them around. Others? They take charge and lead the day. And that choice changes everything. Want to know what truly matters to someone? Don't listen to what they say. Don't even ask about their dreams. Just take a look at their daily routine. Their calendar tells the real story, because here's the truth. Your routine doesn't lie. If your health truly matters to you, it will show up in your day, in the foods you eat, the steps you take, the time you carve out for movement. If personal, growth is a priority. Your schedule will reflect it, with books, learning sessions, and quiet moments of reflection. If your relationships mean something, you'll see the time you've set aside for them. Don't just talk about wanting success. Plan for it, prioritize it, and above all, protect that time like it's sacred. Time is the greatest lie detector of all. It doesn't care what you say. It records what you do. It reveals whether you're truly committed or just daydreaming. Let's be clear. You can't stumble your way into a meaningful life. You can't drift into greatness. No one wakes up one day accidentally successful. If you want your life to be exceptional, you must design it. Not later, not someday, but now. In this very moment, today is not some warm-up round. It's not disposable. It is the main event. How you show up today is exactly how you're shaping your destiny. So ask yourself, really ask, did I use this day with purpose? Did I follow through on the habits I committed to? Am I a little stronger, a little wiser than I was yesterday? If yes, then you're already winning. And if the answer is no, then be grateful. You get another shot tomorrow, but don't take that for granted. These opportunities don't last forever. One day, the tomorrows run out. So here's an action step to end your day with intention. Before you go to bed tonight, take a pen and a clean sheet of paper. At the top, write this one powerful question. If I lived every day like I live today, what kind of future would I be creating? Then answer it. Honestly, if the answer gives you hope, keep going. If it makes you nervous, change something. And remember, change doesn't wait for a new year or a fresh Monday. It begins the moment your alarm rings tomorrow morning. The best part? You don't need a dramatic overhaul, just a better day, and then another and another. That's how change happens, one miniature day at a time. Because success isn't floating somewhere out in the distance. It's already here, quietly hiding inside your daily routine. Now let's zoom in on one of the most powerful parts of your day, the morning. If there's one slice of time that deserves your full attention, it's that first hour after you wake. Why? Because the morning sets the tone. It's the compass for everything that follows. You either lead your day or your day leads you. And that choice, the decision of who's in charge, happens within the first 60 minutes of waking. I've always believed in momentum, and it starts the second your feet hit the floor. Picture your day as a grand performance. The morning is when you tune your instrument. Or imagine it as a skyscraper. Your morning is the very first brick. If life is your masterpiece, then every day begins with a single brushstroke. That's why how you begin matters so much. There's a mindset I live by. Don't start the day until you've finished it, on paper. Don't stumble into your morning like a leaf in the wind, reacting to whatever shows up. Plan your day. Design it with intention. Decide, before the world interferes, who you will be and what you will create. When I wake up, I don't ask, what's happening today? I say, here's what I'm going to make happen today. That's not the mindset of a drifter. That's the mindset of a builder. Want to know a secret that successful people live by? They win the day before the day even begins. They don't hope for a good day. They engineer it. And that brings us to something powerful, the golden hour, the first 60 minutes of your day. This is not the time for aimless scrolling, not the time to react to the world, not the time to get lost in other people's lives while ignoring your own. So what should that first hour look like? In the next section, we'll walk through exactly how to turn your mornings into a launch pad for success, starting with your mind and body. Earlier, we uncovered the immense power of the first hour, how the morning sets the tone for your entire day. Now let's zoom in on what the most successful people actually do during that crucial window. They don't just wake up. They wake up with intention. They begin with purpose. They set the tone by setting their intentions. And that's no accident. Start small. Read a few pages from a quality book that challenges your mind. Scribble down thoughts in a journal, even just one honest sentence. Move your body, go for a walk or a quick workout. Review your goals, not someday goals, but today's goals. Reflect. Breathe deeply. Practice gratitude. Reset your focus. And above all, do these things on purpose. Don't just drift into your morning. Take command of it. Because the truth is, morning laziness comes at a high cost. Some people shrug and say, "I'm just not a morning person." But success, it doesn't care about your preferences. Discipline isn't about being a night owl or an early bird. It's about becoming someone who takes responsibility for their life. Let's be real. When you hit that snooze button, you're not just delaying your wake-up time. You're breaking a promise you made to yourself the night before. You said you'd get up, and now, before the day has even begun, you've already let yourself down. That's not just about rest. It's about self-respect. So instead of building your morning on excuses, build it on execution. The beauty of the morning is that it gives you momentum. And momentum is like a snowball. Once it gets rolling, it builds speed, strength, and energy. But stall it, hesitate too long, and suddenly you're pushing uphill all day long. So claim an early win. Make your bed. Drink a full glass of water. Complete one small task. Celebrate that win. Stack another. Let momentum carry you forward. Because when you control the start, you influence everything that follows. Now here's the key. Don't rely solely on willpower. It fades. Instead, lean into rituals. A ritual is simply a decision you made before the emotions kick in. It takes the debate out of the equation. It says, "This is what I do, no matter how I feel." Rituals don't ask you how your mood is. They ask, "Did you show up?" This is the secret that separates those who succeed. Most people wait for motivation to arrive. Winners, they start moving and let motivation catch up. Because how you begin your day often becomes how you finish it. If you start your day rushed, you'll carry that chaos into every task. If you stumble through your morning, don't be surprised if you stumble through decisions, meetings, and relationships. But if you anchor your day with clarity, purpose, and calm discipline, you walk into everything with power, not panic, because the way you do your morning becomes the way you do your life. So here's my final challenge for this section. Win the first hour. Protect it like it matters, because it does. Master it. Don't just wake up, rise up, because that hour isn't just the start of another day. It's the start of your future. And what fuels that rise? What holds it all together? It's not luck. Not hype. It's discipline. Discipline may not sound flashy. It may not get a standing ovation, but it's the silent architect of every routine that builds greatness. It's the bridge between where you stand today and the future you've been dreaming of. If you want a life worth remembering, you've got to build it. And the builder's name is discipline. Sure, motivation feels good, inspiration feels better, but discipline finishes the job. Even when you're tired, even when no one's watching, even when you don't feel like it. Because here's a truth you won't forget. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret, it weighs tons. Years ago, I made a choice. I'd rather suffer a little today than suffer a lifetime of regret tomorrow. That single decision changed everything for me. But before we move on, let's clarify something powerful. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's not about control or self-denial. We discovered that discipline isn't punishment. It's permission. Permission to live fully. Permission to build a life that reflects your values, not your excuses. And now, let's go even deeper into what that permission really means. Discipline says something powerful. Yes, I'm willing to pay the price. You don't have to love discipline. You just need to value what it gives you in return. You don't need to enjoy waking up early, but you'll come to love the person you become because you did. That transformation? It starts with something simple. Here's something practical. Pick just one discipline. Yes, just one. Maybe you set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. Maybe you commit to reading 10 pages of a good book each day. Maybe you swap out the junk food for something nourishing. Or maybe you take 5 minutes to write down your goals every morning. Whatever it is, choose one small act, and then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the one after that. That's the power of small disciplines done with consistency. They may look ordinary at first, but over time, they multiply. They compound. And what they build is extraordinary. And it's not just about progress. It's about character. Every time you follow through, especially when it's inconvenient, you're not just completing a task. You're strengthening your identity. You're proving to yourself that your word means something. And trust me, self-trust is a superpower. Because once you trust yourself, you don't need permission. You don't need applause or approval. What you gain is certainty. And certainty unlocks confidence. You know what discipline really is at its core? It's self-respect. It's saying, I matter enough to show up for my own life. It's saying, my future matters. My word matters. I matter. Discipline is the loudest, most honest way to declare, I believe in me. And even if no one else sees it yet, that's okay. Because when you show up for you consistently, something amazing happens. Your actions start to shape your identity. And identity? That changes everything. A lot of people think discipline means restriction, like you're losing your freedom. But I say the opposite. Discipline creates freedom. Want financial freedom? Get disciplined with your spending. Want freedom in your health? Be disciplined in your food choices and exercise. Want more free time? Then discipline your schedule. The truth is, people with the strongest discipline have the greatest freedom. Because they're not constantly reacting to life. They're leading it. They're not being pulled in every direction. They've chosen a direction, and they're driving it with purpose. So here's my challenge to you. Become a person of discipline. Not only when it's easy or when it's fun, but especially when it's difficult. Start with something small. Build that momentum. Stack those daily wins. Because each disciplined day is like a deposit in the bank account of your future. And eventually, your routine won't feel like effort. It'll feel natural. Habits will become automatic. And slowly but surely, your entire life will begin to shift. Why? Because discipline is the builder. Routine is the structure. And you are the architect. Let's make a decision today. Be stronger than your excuses. Speak louder than your doubts. Show up, even when it's uncomfortable. Do what needs to be done, even when no one is watching. Because in the end, it's discipline that builds the life you truly deserve. And that's a price absolutely worth paying. Now that you're stepping into discipline with intention, let's talk about something just as important. What you allow into your mind. Because your inputs shape your identity, and identity shapes your outcomes. So let's talk about one of the most overlooked skills of success, guarding your mental gate. Think of your mind like a garden. Every single day, seeds are being thrown in ideas, words, images, beliefs. And here's the thing. You can't always stop people from tossing seeds your way, but you can decide which ones get watered. You choose what takes root and grows. So what happens when you scroll endlessly through negativity disguised as entertainment? When you let in the noise, the drama, the opinions of people who've never built anything telling you how to live? That's not inspiration. That's programming. And friend, you've got to stop letting just anyone program your life. Let me ask you something personal. Who has access to your thoughts? Whose voice echoes in your head when you wake up and before you go to bed? What kind of energy are you inviting in during your most vulnerable mental moments? Because those moments, the first and last few minutes of your day, are when your subconscious is most open. And guess what? The subconscious doesn't filter. It doesn't ask, was that true? Or, was that helpful? It simply records, faithfully, consistently, like a factory that manufactures your reality based on the raw materials you feed it. Pretty soon, the thoughts you once only heard become the beliefs you now live. So what's the solution? Be intentional with your inputs. Treat your attention like currency, because it is. Treat your focus like it's gold, because it's worth even more. Fill your mind with learning, growth, truth. Surround yourself with voices that lift you, sharpen you, challenge you to become better. Read books that expand your thinking. Listen to people who've done the work. Limit the empty noise. Monitor your screen time like your success depends on it, because it does. Turn down the volume on distraction and dial up the volume on your dreams. Because here's the rule. What you feed grows. What you starve dies. When I was starting out, here's what I did, and it changed everything. I sat down and made a list. Who's worth listening to? What's worth watching? What's worth reading? And then I set a personal filter. Only the good stuff gets in. If it builds me, it's in. If it drains me, it's out. That's how I began creating what I call mental wealth. And when your mind becomes rich, your life has no choice but to follow. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying every second of your day has to be deep or philosophical. Of course, there's room for laughter, lightness, and joy. But be aware, be intentional, be the gatekeeper, because someone is always knocking on the door of your mind. The real question is, who are you letting in? Here's the truth that often gets overlooked. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And your mind? That's your master system. So protect it. Curate what you see, hear, and absorb. Choose voices wisely. Control the environments you expose yourself to. Because you're not just feeding your mind, you're designing your future. What gets in will eventually show up in your behavior, your mindset, your relationships, your bank account, even your health. Inputs create outcomes, and you are the gatekeeper. Now let's pivot to another misunderstood concept, the difference between motion and progress. In the next section, we'll uncover a tough truth, that being busy doesn't always mean being productive. And if you're tired of running in circles, this part is for you. Previously, we talked about how what you allow in, your thoughts, influences, and environment, shapes what comes out. Now, let's look at one of the most deceptive traps, confusing being busy with being productive. Ask someone, what did you actually accomplish today? Many will pause, think for a moment, and then struggle to answer. That's the trap, being caught in motion without progress. Let's be honest. Being busy feels productive. It gives the comforting illusion that you're moving forward. But here's the truth. Real success doesn't come from illusions. It comes from impact. There's a phrase I want you to remember. Never confuse activity with achievement. Think about it. Does a farmer just walk around the field all day carrying a shovel? Of course not. He plants, waters, and eventually harvests. He knows what actions produce real results and which ones just burn time. That's what productive people do. They know the difference. And here's the secret. Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things, consistently. This is where the 80-20 rule kicks in. 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. So the question is, what's your 20%? What few things truly move the needle? Find those tasks. Protect them. Prioritize them. Productive people build their schedule around priorities. Busy people pack their schedule with pressure. Productive people ask, what's the one thing that will matter most today? Busy people ask, how can I get through this endless to-do list? Be careful. Long to-do lists can fool you. They create a false sense of accomplishment. But if none of those tasks bring you closer to your goals, then it's just motion without meaning. So here's what to do. Cut. Simplify. Do less, but do it better. I'm not saying don't work hard. I'm saying work smart and then work hard. On the smart things. Don't just stay busy. Get clear. Don't just check boxes. Create breakthroughs. Don't just spend your time. Invest it. Every minute spent on low-value tasks is a minute stolen from the future you're working so hard to build. Let's get practical. Identify your high-value tasks, the few that bring the greatest return. Eliminate or delegate the rest. Don't just manage distractions. Remove them entirely. Block out time for priorities and treat them like appointments with yourself. Review your week regularly. What did I actually accomplish? When you begin doing this, your life changes. Not just more activity, but more impact. Not just more effort, but more elevation. So here's the question. Are you busy or are you productive? Because in the end, it's not about how much you did. It's about what you finished and how much of it really mattered. No one gets rewarded for running in circles. You get rewarded for results. So remember, don't just fill your day, build your destiny. Productive work always beats busy work. And to do that, you must make a crucial choice. Plan your day, or let the day run you. Let me share with you a life-changing philosophy, simple but powerful. Either you run the day, or the day runs you. Every single morning you wake up with a choice, to lead your hours or be led by them, to take charge of your time or be swept away by distractions. And let me tell you something I've learned. The people who win at life don't leave their day to chance. They plan it. They prepare for it. They design it. Now I often hear people say, Jim, I don't really like planning. I just go with the flow. But friend, here's what I'll tell you. The flow is dangerous. Because if you don't have a plan for your life, I guarantee someone else does. So how do you stop drifting and start designing your life on purpose? We'll explore how to create each day intentionally, aligned with your values and goals. If you don't plan your day, the day will plan itself. And when it does, it rarely works in your favor. So now let's explore what happens when you let the day take over and how to stop it. If you don't set your own priorities, make no mistake, someone else will. If you don't intentionally fill your calendar with purpose, it will silently fill up with noise. Without a plan, the day will devour your time. It starts small. One phone call turns into 2. One innocent scroll becomes 20. One small distraction swallows your entire morning. And before you even realize it, the sun's gone down, and so is your opportunity. The day escaped. Not because you didn't care, but because you didn't prepare. Don't let that happen. You can't afford to treat your time casually. Why? Because how you spend your day is exactly how you're spending your life. It's not just a Tuesday. It's a building block of your future. So here's a simple but powerful practice. Never start your day until it's finished on paper. Before the sun rises, before the phone rings, before the demands begin, take a few moments to design your day. Ask yourself, what do I need to get done today? What's essential, not just urgent? What action will move me closer to the life I want? Write it down. Block time for it. Build a simple strategy. That's not just planning, that's leadership. Planning isn't about being rigid. It's about being clear. It's about waking up with direction, not with a phone in your hand, hoping the day magically unfolds. Hope is not a strategy. A well-thought-out plan? That's a strategy. That's your compass. And with a compass, the winds of chaos don't toss you around. You steer your own course. So what does planning actually give you? It protects your priorities. Because when you don't have a plan, everything feels important. And when everything feels important, you end up doing nothing that truly matters. But with a plan, you move with purpose. You say no more often, and without guilt. You stop reacting to every demand and start responding with clarity and wisdom. Let me remind you of this crucial truth. You don't find time, you make time. You carve it out. You protect it. You assign it to what matters. You own it. Yes, planning takes effort. It requires thought, a bit of discipline. But let me ask you this. What's harder? Spending 15 minutes in the morning planning your day, or losing the entire day because you didn't? The small cost of planning will always save you from the high cost of confusion. And that's a trade you want to make. Every single day. Here's my challenge. Tonight, before you go to sleep, take just 10 minutes. Don't just make a to-do list. Design your day. Decide what's going to matter. Decide what's worth your time. Decide who you want to be before the sun even comes up. Because if you don't decide, the day will, and chances are it won't. Decide well. Let me leave you with this truth. An unplanned life is a reactive life. And a reactive life is always behind, always overwhelmed, always one step too late. But a planned life, that's where power begins. That's where you start calling the shots. That's when you start creating real, lasting results. On purpose. So, don't let the day run you. You run the day. Because once you start managing your days, you begin managing your life, and it all begins with one simple shift: the power of small wins. Let's talk about that next. Because believe it or not, you don't need a life-changing victory to turn things around. Previously, we talked about how powerful it is to plan your day, how intentional design leads to intentional results. Now, let's take it a step further by looking at the real driver of momentum: small wins. Success isn't some giant leap. It's built in layers, quiet victories, subtle progress, daily choices. That's how you go from average to excellent, from feeling stuck to becoming unstoppable. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it works. People often ask, "Jim, how do I stay motivated?" The truth? You don't wait for motivation, you create it. And how do you create motivation? Simple. Win something. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be impressive. Just make progress. Make your bed. Read 5 pages of a good book. Go for a walk. Say no to the donut. Send the email. Clean your workspace. Speak kindly when it's easier to be silent or sharp. That's a win. And here's the magic. Wins build confidence. Confidence builds momentum. And momentum, that's when life gets exciting, when things begin to shift. One of the best feelings in the world is progress. Not perfection, not applause. Just the deep, steady knowing that you're moving forward. You're getting better. You're showing up. And that feeling, the one that comes from small wins, it's powerful. They might not make headlines, they won't go viral, but small wins shape habits, and habits shape futures. Here's a key idea. Stack your wins early. Win the first hour, win the morning. You don't need massive action. You need consistent follow-through. Because when you win early, your brain receives a message loud and clear. I'm someone who keeps their word. And that belief, it sticks with you. It walks into every decision, every meeting, every conversation. Small wins change how you see yourself. And when that shifts, everything else shifts with it. Now here's the truth you won't often hear. The world doesn't celebrate small wins. It celebrates results, the highlight reel, the transformation. But what the world doesn't see is what really matters. They see the final product, not the early wake-ups. They see the success, not the 100 small sacrifices. But you know that the person who shows up at 6 a.m., the one who tracks spending, the one who chooses discipline over comfort, that's the one who's already winning long before the results arrive. So don't wait to be celebrated. Celebrate yourself every time you choose growth over ease, progress over perfection. Here are a few ways to put this into action. Start each day with one small, winnable goal. Make it clear. Make it realistic. Then, do it. Keep a win log. At the end of each day, write down your wins, even the tiny ones. Say this out loud. Today I did what I said I'd do. That simple sentence builds deep self-trust. And when you trust yourself, you unlock your full potential. Here's something else small wins do. They make big wins possible. The business grows because the emails got sent. The body transforms because the workouts got done. The mind sharpens because the books got read. The life you want? It's hiding inside the small decisions you're tempted to skip. So don't skip them. Let me close this part with a challenge. Starting today, commit to the next win. Not the perfect day, not the perfect outcome, just the next win. Then stack another and another. Celebrate them. Build on them. Because small wins lead to big change. They rewire your confidence. They rebuild your identity. They redefine what you believe is possible. So go win something. Today, tomorrow, and every day after that. Because the life you dream of, it's not waiting at the finish line. It's being built one small win at a time. And while the morning sets the tone, don't forget the other half of the equation, the evening. But here's the other half of the equation. If you want to wake up with power, you've got to end the day with purpose. So let me ask you, do you want to grow? Then stop rushing through your evenings just to collapse into bed. Instead, meet yourself at the end of the day. Here's a phrase I want you to remember and live by. Don't just finish the day. Harvest it. You've invested your time. You've handled the tasks. You've engaged in the conversations, made decisions, faced challenges. Now the real opportunity begins. The moment to reflect and gather wisdom from it all. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? Where did I grow? Where did I fall short? And how can I improve tomorrow? That's how you convert experience into wisdom. Because success doesn't come from merely going through things. It comes from growing through them. But that growth only happens when you slow down, take a breath, and look back with intention. And no, this doesn't mean spending hours journaling. I'm talking about 10 minutes. Just 10 quiet, focused minutes before bed to ask yourself, did I follow through on what I said I'd do? Did I use my time wisely, or did I waste it? Was I kind? Was I disciplined? Did I take one step closer to becoming the person I'm meant to be? That's what the evening is for. Not guilt, not self-judgment, but clarity. Because you can't change what you won't confront, and you can't confront what you never stop long enough to notice. Here's another key. The evening isn't just about reflection. It's about preparation. You know what kills momentum? Waking up every day and starting from scratch. But you know what creates momentum? Going to bed with tomorrow already in motion. Before you close the day, take time to set it up. Review your calendar. Write your task list. Define your top priorities. Decide tonight who you're going to be tomorrow, because clarity tonight creates confidence in the morning. You'll sleep better. You'll wake up with purpose. You won't start the day reacting. You'll start it winning. There's a phrase I love. The day belongs to the one who prepares for it. When you take charge of your evening, you give yourself a head start, a silent advantage over everyone else who stumbles out of bed trying to figure out what to do next. You don't need more time. You just need to be ready for the time you already have. Let's get real. Most people waste their evenings. They check out mentally. They numb themselves with noise and mindless scrolling. They fall asleep drained, not directed. And then they wonder why they wake up feeling lost and empty. But your evening? That's your launch pad. What you do between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. plays a huge role in who you become at 6 a.m. So guard those hours. Make them sacred. Here's your evening action plan. Take 10 minutes before bed. Review your day. Ask questions. Write down 3 wins, even the smallest ones. Acknowledge your effort. List your top 3 priorities for tomorrow. Not 20, just the 3 that matter most. Visualize your next day. See yourself calm, clear, focused, in control, winning. Do this for a week, just 1 week, and you'll begin to see your life shift. So here's the big idea. Don't just live your day, harvest it. Don't sleepwalk through your evening, use it. Because your future doesn't just begin when the sun rises, It's already being built the night before. The person who ends the day with intention wakes up with clarity and power. So take the time to evaluate. Take the time to prepare. Because how you end your day determines how you begin the next one. And now, as we move forward, remember this truth. Habits don't just shape your schedule. They shape your identity. And your identity? That's what drives everything you become. Now let's dive into a deeper truth. Lasting change doesn't just come from what you do. It comes from who you become. Success isn't only about action. It's about identity. Your habits. Those small, quiet, repeated choices. They don't just fill your schedule. They shape your character. Because here's the reality. Habits build identity, and identity drives results. What you do every single day is shaping who you're becoming. And even more powerful than your actions is the belief behind them. Because who you believe you are determines what you do next. So if you truly want to change your life, you have to start by changing your habits. Why? Because those habits aren't just routines. They are votes for the kind of person you're becoming. But here's the catch. You can't outperform your self-image. You can talk like a champion. You can dream of being successful. You can even set the biggest, boldest goals. But if your habits don't match the identity of that vision, your results will always fall short. You can say, I want to be healthy. But if your daily actions include fast food, skipping workouts, and soda on repeat, that's not who you are. That's just who you wish you were. So here's the real goal. Not just to set goals, but to become the kind of person who naturally achieves those goals. And that begins, as always, with small, daily choices. Want to know who you really are? Don't look at your intentions. Don't look at your affirmations. Don't even look at your vision board. Look at your habits. Because what you do repeatedly reveals who you believe you are. If you write every day, you become a writer. If you train your body every day, you become an athlete. If you read every day, you become a learner. If you invest your money or your mind daily, you become wealthy, in wisdom and eventually in your bank account. And here's the magic. The more you follow through, the more natural it becomes. The more it aligns. Until one day, you stop trying to fake it, because now, you simply are it. Let me give you something powerful to hold on to. Discipline is how you cast votes for the identity you want. Every time you show up and follow through, you're placing a vote that says, this is who I am now. The action might feel small. It might go unnoticed, but it counts. And the votes add up. Eventually, your brain starts to believe it. Your identity shifts. Your confidence rises. Your actions multiply. And suddenly, you're not trying to become, you're living it. So if you want better results in any area of your life, stop chasing the outcome. Start shaping your identity. Ask yourself, who do I want to become? What does that kind of person do daily? Am I living that right now? Don't just say, I want to be a leader. Ask, what does a leader do first? Thing in the morning? Then do that. Because being comes before doing. And doing reinforces being. Now let me give you a heads up. Your old habits, they won't go quietly. They'll whisper, you've always been this way. They'll tempt you with, just this once. They'll say, no one will know, but you will know. So when that moment comes, and trust me, it will. Choose the identity you're building, not the one you're breaking free from. Every habit is a vote. So cast your votes wisely. Let me close with this. You don't become great in a single leap. You become great gradually, habit by habit, day by day. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need a flawless plan. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to act like the person you want to become until that person becomes your reality. Because in the end, habits shape identity, And identity shapes everything else. Stack the days, then stack the decades. Here's something simple, but life-changing. A successful life is nothing more than a string of successful days, stacked together. No magic, no secrets. Just ordinary days lived with extraordinary consistency. So now the question becomes, how do you create those successful days and string them together with purpose and clarity? In the last part, we uncovered a powerful truth. Your identity isn't something you find, it's something you build, one habit at a time. Now let's bring that concept into focus with something even more practical, a method. Because without a method, even motivation fades. And this method starts with one clear principle: stack the days. Why? Because how you live your days is how you live your life. It sounds simple, even obvious, but most people miss it. They say things like, "Oh, it's just one day, I'll start next week. This one doesn't matter." But let me tell you, it does matter. Every single day counts. Every day is either a vote for your future or against it. You can't expect to live a disciplined life if you're constantly wasting your afternoons. You can't build a purposeful decade if your days are built on distractions and excuses. Because success doesn't just show up one day in a flash, it accumulates, brick by brick. And just like success, failure sneaks in too, slowly, quietly. One excuse at a time, one skipped workout, one wasted hour, one broken promise to yourself, and in the moment, it may not feel like much. But over time, it builds a story. And here's the question: what kind of story are you writing? Picture this. Every day is like a single brick. You can toss it aside carelessly, or you can place it carefully, intentionally, right into the foundation of your future. One brick doesn't seem like much, but stack them consistently, and soon you've built a structure called success. Ignore them, and all you're left with is a pile of regret. So what's it going to be? Build or neglect? You don't get to choose whether you're stacking days. You only get to choose what kind of days you're stacking. Now here's the beautiful part. You don't need to win the whole year. You don't even need to win the whole month. You just need to win today. Do that enough times, and you'll look up one day with a decade's worth of proof that you've become a focused, consistent, purpose-driven human being. And the compound effect of that kind of consistency? It's life-changing. Because the future isn't built in the future. It's built in the present, in daily repetition, in the next decision, the next hour, the next habit. So stop waiting to have the whole plan figured out. You don't need 10 years of clarity. You just need to do the right thing. Right now. Wake up early. Move your body. Feed your mind. Finish the task. Speak the truth. Stick to the plan. Then do it again. Tomorrow. And the next day. And the next. That's how legacies are built. Let me ask you something. What if today was a single page in your biography? Would you be proud of how it reads? Because whether you realize it or not, the pen is in your hand, and every decision you make is writing your story. Stack enough intentional days, and you'll look back not with regret, but with momentum. So here's your assignment. Don't chase 10-year goals. Chase 10 great Tuesdays in a row. Show up. Stay consistent. Do what matters today, and let the days build the decades. Because once you realize the power of one good day, you stop searching for shortcuts, and you start building habits. Let me leave you with this image. Your calendar is your construction site. Every check mark is a brick. Every routine is a beam. And your future, that's the building you're working on. So lay one down today. Then, lay another tomorrow. One solid block at a time. If you stack the right days, your life will rise like a masterpiece. Design your days. Design your destiny. And if there's one truth I hope you carry with you, it's this. You are not the product of your circumstances. You are the product of your daily choices. You don't need a new year. You don't need better luck. You don't need someone to hand you the perfect opportunity. What you do need is a decision to take your days seriously, to live your hours with clarity, to stop letting life happen to you and start making life respond to you. Because when you design your day, you design your destiny. Success doesn't appear in one glorious moment. It's formed in a string of quiet, disciplined moments. Getting up when you don't feel like it, reading when others are watching TV, saying yes to focus and no to distraction, finishing what you start, protecting your energy, stacking those wins, one small day at a time, and every one of those moments, that's your destiny, being, built quietly, brick by brick, decision by decision, so don't drift. Drive, direct, design, because drifting is easy. But it always takes you off course, and make no mistake, if you don't build your day on purpose, the world will hand you a plan, and it won't have your best interest in mind. So let me ask you something bold. What would happen if you designed the next 7 days with full intention? What if you planned them, prioritized them, protected your time, and filled each one with focus, growth, and meaningful action? Just 7 days. Would your results look different? Would your confidence shift? Would your identity start to transform? You better believe it would, because once you learn to control the day, you start to believe you can control your life. And that belief, that's when everything changes. So here's your final charge. Don't just wish for a better future. Schedule it. Don't just hope to succeed. Design your days so that success becomes inevitable. Write the plan, honor the calendar, stack the wins, do the work. And when it gets hard, and it will, come back to this one truth. My days are my destiny. If I master the day, I master my life. That's the mindset of a builder. That's the heartbeat of a champion. That's how you go from survival to success to significance. Because in the end, your future isn't found in fate. It's written in your schedule. It's hiding in your habits. It's waiting in your choices. So take the pen, write the story, design the day. Because when you design your days with discipline, you design a destiny worth living. And my friend, you are worthy of it. Let's get to work. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Start designing it. Your future is already in your hands, one day at a time, one choice at a time. Because if you can master today, you can shape everything that comes next. Now go, build it, live it, own it.